All right, let's take a look at the training for the week of Monday, the 25th, November 25th to Saturday, November 30th. As the cycle has progressed the entire time, we've maintained the same trend as we usually do cycle to cycle. It may change from cycle to cycle, but once we start a training cycle, we tend to stay with the same training days per week, training the same from every Monday through that training cycle is a progression on the previous Monday. So anyways, this Monday, lower body strength and hypertrophy, and then our short duration conditioning. We are at our deadlifts, so we're gonna build to a 1 rep max on deadlifts, however many sets that takes, drop 40 pounds from that, and then you're gonna do 2 sets for max reps, resting 2 to 5 minutes in between those sets. Whether it's 2 or 5, I understand that's a 3-minute difference. It's 150% difference. It's gonna be dependent upon how quickly you recover. So if you feel like the local muscle tissue, your hamstrings, your glutes, your lower back, your grip, if you're not using straps, if all that stuff's recovered enough to then do another set without the previous set limiting the next one more than it has to, then you're probably ready. Another layer is if your fatigue is down enough so that your cardiovascular system isn't the limiting factor or something else. So it's when you've recovered enough to put in another good set without the previous set having an undue negative effect on the next set you're about to do. So base it on that. For hypertrophy, we're down to sets of 8. We got front squats and walking lunges. Walking lunges are 8 per leg. 8 reps per set. On the walking lunges, if you want more glute hamstring involvement, this is for hypertrophy purposes. Have a little bit more forward lean in the bottom of the lunge. If you want more quad, you're generally gonna activate that more or get that more involved if you stay more upright with your torso at the bottom of that walking lunge. I have no preference. I have my preference. I have no preference how you do it. It's for building muscle. Which muscles do you want to get the most stimulus, and do it that way. Circuit. So for our short conditioning, it's gonna be a 21, 15, 9 reps for time. It's gonna be hang clean high pulls, or you can sub hang power cleans, and dips. So a bit of a pull and a push combo. Those are always fun. It's good. Tuesday, it's good. I'm complimenting my own workout design. We've got our upper body strength and hypertrophy, and then our sprint conditioning for Tuesday, November 26th. Same training scheme for the strength training today. It's just gonna be for the strict press and upper body push movement. Same as yesterday as far as the weight and the scheme that we're doing. Hypertrophy, it's gonna be sets of 8, 3 sets. Supinated grip, bent over rows, and incline bench press. On the bent over rows, I know I said this in prior videos. I don't know if maybe I said it 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I don't remember. But make sure you get a big stretch at the bottom of that bent over row. Don't shortchange it, and don't, for the purposes of hypertrophy, meaning you're trying to build the most amount of muscle possible, don't have any undue rocking of the hips using the hip extension to help power the movement up. You want the back, and as an accessory, your biceps doing the pulling on this for you, not anything else. And for our sprint conditioning, every 1 minute until failure. So starting at 0, you're gonna do 7 thrusters. It's at a light weight. It's gonna scale up or down depending on which track you're on, but it's gonna be relatively light. 3 pull-ups, 7 burpees. If you complete those 13 reps in 1 minute, you have the remainder of that minute to then rest, and then at 1 minute, you start it again. You do that every minute on the minute until you can't complete the weight or the reps that are prescribed. If you're an absolute stud and that's progressing on too long, then you can time cap it based on what time you have. But it'll be almost like sprint repeats. You do 7, 3, 7 as fast as you possibly can, rest. 7, 3, 7 as fast as you possibly can, rest. Until you can't, or until it slows down so drastically that you're sludging along, and that's certainly not the intent of the training day. Wednesdays are active recovery EFC day per the usual. Thursdays are power training and moderate conditioning and core day. So same rep scheme, same lifting scheme as the Monday and Tuesday. It's just gonna be with a power movement, and in this case, it's gonna be power clean, For the circuit, it's gonna be as many reps as possible in 15 minutes. It's gonna be 10 push press, 10 kettlebell swings, and 10 box jumps, scaled up or down depending on which track of training you're following. But as many rounds as possible in 15 minutes. 15 minutes of work is a lot of work. I would, with any of these, I would opt for pacing yourself in the beginning. Set a pace in the beginning where you think you will be at that same pace at the end, so that you're more consistent versus coming hot out of the gate and having prolonged rest periods and then grinding out the last 10 minutes. Start slower than you think you need to, and maybe you're wrong. Maybe you start too slow, but then just finish faster than you normally would have. Hopefully that makes sense. For our core progression, our core isometric progression, we got our low planks. That's accumulating 3 minutes and 15 seconds in a standard low plank. And then for our side planks, it's going to be accumulating 2 minutes per side. If you wanted to maximize your time, you could do, say, if you can't do 2 minutes in a side plank, which is a long time for a good strict side plank. If you say at 30 seconds, your form's starting to deteriorate on a left-sided side plank, then just rotate over to the right side, do 30 seconds on that side, and work back and forth. That way you're continuously working, you're continuously chipping at the time, versus doing your left side until form breaks down, and then you're resting. And it's just taking up, it's gonna eat up a bunch of time. And I know that's a big issue with everyone, but particularly with law enforcement officers having a limitation on time. So that's just an easy way to knock that out in a little bit more time efficient manner. Friday is our Flex Friday. Pretty straightforward. We're down to reps of 8. Pretty simple for all our movements. In case this is the first time you're seeing a video, a weekly brief, or it's the first time you've seen any of we talk about hypertrophy training, just make sure that you're on those Flex Fridays through those. We're not focused on max amount of force. We're not focused on rate of force development. We're simply focusing on tension through the muscle through a long range of motion, particularly at length and ranges of motion, controlling the movement at the bottom, at the top. You want to make, like with power training, you want to make a heavy weight feel light. With hypertrophy training, you want to make a lighter weight feel heavy. Take your time, focus on the muscle you're trying to activate, go through a full range of motion, generally moving the weight slower than you otherwise probably would, particularly if you're doing strength or power training. So anyways, all right, back to it. Your tactical Saturday, we got a little running warm up, then we're gonna do a prone position to a sprint. So basically starting face down, pushing yourself up, sprinting. Pretty straightforward, simple drill, but no doubt useful for law enforcement. Find yourself on the deck and you gotta get up and go. We're gonna do 5 sets of 5. So you do 5 back to back to back. And then you're gonna rest in between and then do another 5, rest in between, rest 45, 60 seconds. Again, same thing with strength training. You're gonna rest long enough that the previous set's not gonna overly interfere with the next set. On the sprints, cover 40, 50 feet. The biggest thing is the transition. Biggest thing is getting from that prone position up and sprinting, making the time from being lying down, stationary prone to sprinting, that transition time, minimizing that as much as possible. That's the biggest thing. It's not necessarily your peak speed at the end or how quickly you go from prone to sprinting and then how quickly you get to your top speed. It's how quickly you get from prone to the motion, the motion of sprinting. So consider that when going through these drills. And then for our circuit, our TAC Saturday circuit, if you have a vest or plate carrier, wear it, whether it's a training one or if it's department issued or self-bought for the job. Wear it if you can. 3 rounds for time, 5 pull-ups, 10 burpees, 15 push press, 20 kettlebell swings, and then 50 farmer's carries. On the farmer's carries across all tracks, it's going to be, create your own adventure. Basically make it that way because it's hard to standardize who has 2 of what weight. If you want to make it lighter and you can send it on a full sprint, cool. If you want to make it heavier and you got to grind out 50 meters, also cool. I don't have a preference one way or another as far as how you train that particular movement. And then finally, our tactical skill integration is going to be donning and doffing a tourniquet immediately after the farmer's carries. With it being 3 rounds, pick a different limb each time. Maybe it's your left arm, then your right arm, then your left leg. If you're doing this with a partner, maybe you do some buddy aid instead of just self aid. That's always good too, for obvious reasons. And that's our week of training. Let's go out there. Let's have a good one. See you guys.